Doing? Everybody smiling back here? Smiling back here? All right. Some people haven't started smiling yet. Okay, there we go. Welcome to the August 16th meeting of the Rotary Club of Louisville.
Rotary clubs are divided into 539 districts worldwide. That's 539. Each of those districts is headed by a volunteer district governor who begins 1 year of service on July 1st. So these can be men or women. So anyone that's a past president of a Rotary Club is eligible to apply. The most time-consuming part of their job is visiting each and every one of the clubs in their respective district. There are 55 clubs here in central and western Kentucky that's in our district 6710. So that means in about 4 to 5 months you're expected to visit 55 Rotary clubs. You eat a lot of chicken. Yesterday our speaker was at the Rotary Club of Clinton, Kentucky, making a 6+ hour round trip of 410 miles to visit the club for a 2-hour visit. Today he drew an easier trip. District Governor Michael Owsley is just 45 miles from his home in Elizabethtown. His bio is in sparks, but here are a few highlights. He's Kelly's husband and Isabella and Nolan's dad. Since 2006, he has owned and practiced at the Owsley Family Chiropractic after graduating from Murray State University and the Palmer School or College of Chiropractic. A member of the Rotary Club of Elizabethtown since 2004, he's a member of the Paul Harris Society and also a major donor to the Rotary Foundation. To my knowledge, he is the youngest district in our district's 104-year history as a district governor, and I'm sure his blazer will show you he's a Rotarian on the outside and the inside. Please help me welcome District Governor Michael Owsley.
Appreciate it. All right, thank you, Mike. There we go. That thing is working. Good. As Mike said, I appreciate your guys' warm welcome. It is a whole lot easier to get here than it is to get back and forth to Clinton on everything. So it's been a real blessing. This is visit number 22 out of 55 for me on the year so far. So I've had a lot of Rotary meetings. I think I'm okay on makeups for a while with my club. But, you know, as he said, there's 500 district governors in the world. I'm actually number 2 on youngest in the world this year. That was a tricky thing, trying to figure out, when we had our training in San Diego, trying to figure out, okay, am I really the youngest? You know, there's a guy from Poland that looked like he might be, and had to figure out culturally, is it okay to ask how old you are? And then there's a guy from Taiwan. And I really made it through the whole week thinking that I had the title 1, and I get on the bus to get on the plane to come back here to Louisville, and there's a voice behind me on the bus. I turn around and look, and I'm like, man, she looks really young. and so then I had to figure out, how do you politely ask a woman her age? And so what I did was I started talking about finding other young district governors there. And so we got talking about that. And finally she asked me, so how old are you? And I thought, I'm in. I can ask. So Jessica Sherrill out of Oklahoma has me beat by 3 months. But so that's second youngest in the world. But I had the chance to get around and meet a lot of people and do these things and get out, because I really felt like Rotary is about relationships, the opportunities to meet people. You know, Luke is from Elizabethtown. It's funny, you know, we talk about all these different connections and things like that. Follow this, because I know you're in a big city and maybe it's not quite, this is the way we count relationships there. His sister-in-law's father is my wife's step-grandfather. There we go. So we had that figured out on that one. But I also had a chance to welcome Jennifer with me. I know she's going to have to leave in just a little bit. Jennifer was one of my very favorite employees in my office there. She works with Humana just down the street, so I knew if I was going to be close, I wanted to invite her to come as well. I'm very, very proud of my staff that I've had in my opportunity to serve as well, because I've got Jennifer here with her MBA that has traveled to Cuba and had all kinds of opportunities to Humana. I've got another former employee that she was the Excel Award winner for E-Town Independent Schools this year. So really have the opportunity to get and meet and do those things. And that's part of what really drives me to do these things, that opportunity to meet people, make those relationships and go on, because you never quite know where you're going to find them. And so when I got to looking at what a district governor is to do, is it on this side there? See, it took Luke a while to figure it out. Let me see if I can, there? Is that counting. Am I supposed to go forward with that? What's that? There we go, good. And so as I go around, what I wanted to do was first say thank you to all my district governors, to all my clubs I went through. Now, this club, I've been going around. Most clubs, if they have a couple of district governors, they might have 3 or 4, maybe tops. I won't list all of your past district governors. Just suffice to say, the Louisville Rotary Club has got a strong tradition of leadership in our district there. You're over 100 years old now, and you've got 13 district governors. Frankfort is just behind you with 12, just so you know. But so you all have had a long tradition there. If you'll notice there, we got a Roy Owsley on there in 74, 75. And I'm sure some of you all may know. I did not know Roy Owsley. I saw the name. And I went home and asked my dad, and I said, Dad, do you know Roy? He said, oh, yeah, that's Uncle Roy. And I said, oh, okay. So former city planner here in Louisville. Is technically actually a cousin, but Dad called him Uncle Roy on that one. And so, that was a name that I recognized. I was like, oh, okay. So as I talk about it, my job is to come around and say thank you for all that you do, and then also to kind of inform you on what's going on around Rotary a little bit. And so this year, our international president is Barry Rassin of the Rotary Club of East Nassau in the Bahamas. And he set our theme this year as to be the inspiration. So I already told Barry, we got to update those things as we go. But to be the inspiration. And Barry is from, Barry Rassin there is from the Bahamas, and he talked about how he would stand on the ocean and would look out over the sea, and you would have that universal call that I think the ocean has for most of mankind, where there's something bigger than ourselves. It inspires us to go out and to be part of something bigger than ourselves. And that's really what he was asking us to do in our vocations, in our service to others, and then within ourselves, to be the inspiration this year in our communities as we go and do that. This is his wife, Esther. And so Mike was talking about my jacket. Every year the governor gets assigned basically a jacket. This year they told us just get a Navy coat so you can wear it to other business meetings. I thought, well, I got plenty of Navy coats I can wear to the business meetings. I need one coat for Rotary. So I was trying to think, what could I do differently to do that? I was watching the NBA draft, and they're all going through there, and they had their jerseys sewn on the inside of their jacket. So I wound up, I wound up finding that one there. So there was I thought. It was fun. I tell you, I've had a lot of pictures that were taken of me at the international conference and things like that with those. But there was a tailor over there towards St. Matthews that I found that was able to do that one for me. So I appreciated that. So we're to get out and to go and do these things. Barry was the district governor for the district that includes Haiti and areas of that. And so he told a story in Toronto at the international conference that kind of encompasses what our opportunities are that are out there. When he was district governor, he flew into Haiti. He took a windy road up the coastline to go visit a club. And when he got there, they stopped at the host's house. They said, well, do you want to go to the club now? And he said, you know what, I'd like to clean up first if I could. And the host said, hang on just a minute, I'll be right back. Left for about 30 minutes, came back, said, yeah, go ahead, go ahead and clean up. So Barry took a shower and thought, well, okay, I don't know what that was. So as they were driving over to the club, he asked, why did you need me to wait before I clean up? He said, well, we only have water in the morning here in town, so I needed to go ask the city to turn the water on for you. And so he said that was one of the most humbling and humiliating experiences of his life there, that the whole town would turn on the water just so that he could take a shower. And so that's when he realized his calling in life is that he wants to make sure that the people of Haiti have clean water as you go through there. And he has really taken on a lot of efforts there to do those things with us. One thing with Rotary and around the world that I've always noticed is that the one constant we can always rely on is change. You guys are talking about change. Anytime you talk about changing a meeting location, there is certainly change associated with it. So I know that you all are going through it. We just had to move ours in Elizabethtown, and it's never easy. And so I don't envy you. But what I have said is that in 1998, when I was a student at Murray State, if you'd given me 2 pieces of advice, you might have told me, don't ride in cars with strangers and don't trust the internet. And we flash forward to today, and we literally use the internet to summon strangers for the purpose of riding in their car. And so that's how quickly everything can change. When I was in Toronto, I had a chance to use Uber a lot. I'd used Uber here in Louisville. I'd used it in Lexington. It's a different world when you use Uber in an international city. But one of my drivers, I asked him, I said, so is this a full-time job for you? Is this a side hustle? What is this? And he said, you know what? I used to drive a cab full-time, but now I found that I make more money driving for Uber and my passengers pay less. And that light bulb went on in my head, because as a business owner, I realized, you know what? If my patients, customers, are paying less and I'm making more, that's a good deal all around. And then the other thing that I realized was, okay, this is how an industry dies. Because if you can't adapt to the new Ubers and Lyfts of the world, what's going to happen to you with that? And so the good news is that Rotary has given us the flexibility to change. We do have those opportunities to do it. And Rotary has worked with the vision statement. I know I was here on my 40th birthday back in March, so you'll always have a special place in my heart here for the Louisville Rotary Club. But when Greg Yank was here, and he talked about this as well, but our new vision statement says, together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. And then I think that's the great thing about Rotary, is that we have that opportunity that you all have supported internationally. You all have made lasting change here within the community of Louisville and Jefferson County. And then you have so many growth opportunities within this club too, for professional networking, for personal growth. And I think that's something to be commended, because you really do live out this vision statement. And it's something that we can express and say, this is who we are and what we're wanting to do. And so the way we go about doing that as Rotary, our kind of our mission statement, or I guess our strategic plan on this one there, is that we're going to support and strengthen our clubs. We're going to focus and increase our humanitarian service, and then we're also going to enhance our public image and awareness. And that's kind of how I've structured my talk today. So with supporting our strength of our clubs, for me, that comes down to the member and the membership experience. And I love that you guys are taking those surveys and looking at them and saying, you know, what are we providing for our members? What value do we provide to business and professional leaders here in Louisville? And a few weeks ago, I was sitting in the Rotary Club of Elizabethtown, and Diana Bennett, she's with Special Olympics of Kentucky, and she coordinates her volunteers there in Hardin County. And she said something that I felt like I needed to write down right then and there. It said, people don't stay 40 years unless they're getting something out of it. There was something that draws them back. And sitting in my meeting that day was Hardin McLean, realtor there in Elizabethtown. And Hardin has over 50 years of perfect attendance to our club. And I remember thinking, you know, there's something that draws Hardin back every week. And I promise it's not the food at our club. But, you know, we have those opportunities to come and to fellowship and to do that. But there's something within each of us that says, you know what, there's a reason I enjoy doing this. And so what I've encouraged Rotarians as I've gone around is, you know, identify those things within yourself, your why, as you know, we always hear the start with why. But look at that and then realize, if I like that, if I get that out of it, other people would too. And so then you can reach out to people in your social circles and in your vocation and say, why don't you come join me for lunch this week? And you can come and you can do that. And don't be selfish. Invite them to do it. The other thing that I just added this slide not all that long ago, after I was down in Erlanger, or not in Erlanger, I was in Gardendale, and I sat and talked with my friend Lakita Stribling, and she is my counterpart in Central and Western Tennessee. And Lakita, she had a statement that she made that I thought, you know what, that makes a lot of sense to me. And what she said was that doing good is an equal opportunity endeavor in spite of all the ways in which we are different. And so no matter whether we are from different professions, different demographics, different age groups, different races, different religions, that desire to do good in the world is a universal calling of mankind, I think. And so those things that unite us give us those opportunities to go out and to be stronger in our service to a community. So when Lakita said that, I thought, you know what, I've got to put that in there. She actually fussed at me because she hasn't finished her doctorate yet. So when I first showed her that, she said, you got to change that. It's just that I had to send this slide into you all before I edited the slide. So, but she'll be done later this year. So you talk about being an inspiration. Lakita is district governor and finishing her PhD program right now. Let's see, and then this one there, see if that video, you all may have seen this video, but when we talk about why Rotary, I think this encompasses it well.
Well, let's start with why it was founded. In 1905, a Chicago attorney named Paul P. Harris formed one of the world's first service organizations, the Rotary Club of Chicago. It was a place where professionals with diverse backgrounds could exchange ideas, form meaningful friendships, and serve their community. The name Rotary came from the group's early practice of rotating the meeting location among the offices of each member. And for over a century, the community has expanded all over the globe. And the exchange of ideas, friendships, and service has grown right along with it. Rotary has always been a magnet for leadership, not only in its members, but also in those who regularly present providing clean water, saving mothers and children, supporting education, and growing local economies. Those focus areas and everything we do can always be put through our four-way test. Number one, is it the truth? Number two, is it fair to all concerned? Number three, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And number four, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Are you a busy business or community leader whose heart is set to serve above self? Then we were made for each other. The meetings have stopped rotating, but our passion to network, share, and serve has not. Why don't you look us up? We'd love to invite you to our next meeting. Rotary. Join leaders. Exchange ideas. Take action.
Like I said, I think some of you have probably seen that video. I know your club did get it too. It was actually, yeah, so it'll play again. It's actually a fundraiser for the Knoxville Breakfast Club there. They'll do it. But so the second part of it is, when we look at why we're wanting to do things and why we want to be Rotarians, and then we look at where we want to go and how we present ourselves out there. And so that's our public image and awareness. And so Rotary started a new campaign where they looked at it and they said, who are we? Are we people who get together for lunch, we rub elbows, we write checks, we have the old pictures that would show up in the paper, we would grip and grin, right? We do that. And so we would do those things and, it would kind of stay quiet. We wouldn't see everything that was out there. But what Rotary realized was, that's not who we are. Who we are is we get out and we do things. We are movers and shakers in our communities who take transformative action. So what they have done with our branding is they say that together we are people of action. And so we go out and we make those changes. And so as they look at those, they've got these 4 action verbs they use with their branding. And so I've been using some pictures from each of the clubs I've gone and visited. So together we inspire is one of them there. This is your Rotary Promise program there. This scholarship program is obviously something that I don't have to tell you about, but it's certainly something that is inspiring to me. It's inspiring to those students, inspiring to the community. Barry was just telling me about how it's going to expand and that the city is going to take on some aspects of it there as well. So you guys have taken an idea, you made a commitment and a promise, and you inspired other people to take action to go out and do even more. And so that's part of what we can do together. Together we connect. You all look at, this is one of your programs here, but you look at the demographics you've gone to here as you look at this one, as you get in there and you have helped people up that have not had those opportunities as they were on the street, maybe dealt with some substance abuse, as they dealt with some homelessness and inadequate housing or food insecurity. And so you guys have done these things to connect across the community and across these lines to go out and make real differences there. Together we transform. This is your hike, back, and paddle I got talking with Julie about earlier there. But, as you look at going out and being part of the community and transforming the world as part of it. So we have these visual imaging there that we can say, this is who we are. We're not just people who sit around in a suit and tie and do these things. We get out and we take action in our communities. And then, of course, together we end polio, which is also part of the things on there. The Rotary Club Paducah, I put together this Facebook page for our district page last year. They actually held a dessert auction where they raised $10,000 for polio. Now, of course, past District Governor Missy was from there, and so I've asked their president this year, Dee Dee, I said, well, listen, you going to do that again this year or what? Was that just a Missy thing? She kind of hemmed and hawed, so I'm still working on her. But, when I've talked about this picture actually came from my trip to India in 2003 on a clinic abroad trip. These guys, my buddy Brian Mack used to play for the Sioux City Explorers, got drafted by the White Sox, and he took a cricket bat and he hit a ball like Babe Ruth. You would have thought these kids, they had never seen anything, so they were all excited to see Brian hit this thing. But, with polio right now, where we are worldwide is that there are 13 cases in the world this year. All of them centered in Pakistan and Afghanistan, and I don't think I have to explain to you why those are kind of a tough nut to crack. Nigeria is still considered to be endemic, but it hasn't had a case since 2016. So we do a 3-year monitoring, which means that by the end of 2019, with no new cases there, we'll be able to declare Nigeria to be polio-free as well, as we keep checking more countries off the list. And eventually we'll finish the job, because that's the promise we've made. And so when we give $1 to Polio Plus, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation matches us 2 to 1. So every time that we give and contribute, it's actually a $3 donation that we've made. And the international cost of the dose is a little more than $1 a dose now. But so that means that when you're giving and contributing, for every dollar you're giving, it's now 3 children that never have to worry about this disease that we've forgotten about in our country in some ways. Just to give you the full update on things, there was, the buzzword these days is fake news, obviously. Back in May, there was a story came out from the BBC that told us that Venezuela had an active case, and if that had been true, it would have been the first case of polio in the Americas in 24 years. Good news is when the WHO actually got out and researched it, they found that it was not live virus, it was not vaccine derived, it was what they call idiopathic acute flaccid paralysis, which for those of us in the medical professions basically just means, I don't know what caused it, but he can't move. And so certainly still tragic for that patient, but a big sigh of relief for those of us that have been monitoring the polio eradication efforts over the years. The last part of it is to focus and increase our humanitarian service. And it's almost in some ways embarrassing that I include this in here because your club has always been a huge part of the Rotary Foundation, and in so many ways our district Rotary Foundation couldn't function without the support that the Louisville Club has given us, both through obviously our district foundation chair Rick Harnett and all the leadership that your many past district governors of this club have given us over the years as they continue to serve the district there. But as I put my plug in for it, because you all have been such strong supporters over the years, and to say thank you, to let you know that everything that you contribute is a good use of your charitable giving. Because Charity Navigator rates us as a 4-star charity, which is their highest rating. When I first started putting this presentation together, I thought about including a few other charities you may have heard of to show you where they rank, but then I looked at this 4-way test and I thought, I don't know that it's fair to all concerned to do that, but because they don't add up to where we are. You know, we've always heard the horror stories that when you give $1 to a charity, maybe only 25 cents actually goes to where it is. And so let me tell you how the Rotary Foundation works. When you make a contribution to the Rotary Foundation, it sits in an account for about 3 years and grows. And as it grows, it covers the administrative costs of the Rotary Foundation, which are, in the scheme of things, fairly small, because all of the work being done by Rotary Foundation is being done by everybody out here. By you all. You are the ones that are picking up the shovels and planting the trees. You are the ones that are going on these vaccination missions to India. You are the ones that are digging wells in Mexico. And so you are the ones that are doing the work. And so all of the money has a chance to go directly into the charitable giving we want to do. And so the most recent number I've seen is about 90.9 cents on the dollar that gets directly back into where we want to be. And so that's an investment you really can't beat anywhere on that one. And so I want to share this story a little bit too, because while it's not a sentiment I've ever heard here, I've heard it in other communities, smaller communities, and it's a sentiment I understand. But, a lot of them, they'll say, we want our charity to be done locally. And what I have told them is, you know what, I understand and I agree. Let me show you how you can do more, because you're missing out. And so this is a story of a global grant that really could mean right here in our backyard. This is one that's happening. It's been in the works for a while. Rick, I know I've been bugging Rick about it for years. We've been watching it, but it looks like it's going to be finished this year. It's on schedule for it. But this is a water project happening in Clay County, Kentucky, being sponsored by District 4170, which is basically Mexico City. So let me repeat that for just a second. This is a water project happening in Kentucky, coming from Mexico. And so we have these things where we always think about, like in Elizabethtown, we've got our water project to Guatemala. You guys have Honduras. We have Haiti. We have Belize. We have so many different things that we do, that we go, and we tend to think of global as being elsewhere. But what you have to remember is Rotary is an international organization. And so for every other country represented by Rotary, the United States is global. We are international to them. And so they have opportunities to do things with us that we couldn't do. And so over here in Clay County, let me tell you what's going on. This was a project initiated by the Rotary Club of London, Kentucky, and they did it in a partnership through what's called the heart-to-heart zones of Rotary. That's the heart of America is basically, you can imagine it being the districts that run from the Great Lakes down to the Gulf of Mexico, and then the heart of Mexico, that we do a lot of projects back and forth with them. And so they partnered with this district, and then they also had partners here in the States, in northern Indiana, in eastern Tennessee, and then both districts here in Kentucky. And what they're doing is they're going to have a $165,000 project going on out there. When we do a lot of our district grants, we're talking about a $5,000 grant. Certainly significant, makes a difference. But when we start getting into some of these global grants, that's where they start getting to be much, much larger in scope. And what I have said when I visited the other Rotary clubs here in Louisville, I said, you know, $165,000 here in Jefferson County is a big deal, obviously. $165,000 in Clay County, Kentucky is the biggest thing that's ever happened there. And what's happening there and what they're doing, they have identified households in Clay County where the septic systems have failed, and it's directly adversely affecting the water quality for the entire county. And so what they're going to do is they're going to replace 25 septic systems in Clay County and also provide a water storage kiosk at the Redbird Mission there to be able to do those things. And this is a partnership we're only capable of doing by using the partnerships we have through Rotary, that we have these connections, these relationships we've talked about, that we have those things. And so that's pretty exciting, I think, to be able to just tell a story and say the only thing limiting us on what we can do is our own imaginations. We can go out and we can reach out and we can do these things. We can be part of it. And this is exactly how we can do it. And so it's just an exciting story I wanted to tell. We're going to have an opportunity for service this year again. Last year, Miss District Governor Missy Eckenberg asked us to go out and read on World Rotary Day, which is the anniversary of our founding, February 23rd. This year, that falls on a Saturday. If you want to get into a school on a Saturday, I'm pretty sure you could. Wouldn't be a whole lot of kids there to read to. So what I am asking us to do this year, the next Saturday is Read Across America Day, so let's make it a week. Let's go out there during that last week of February and let's read to some kids. You know, every kid loves a good story, and whether you're reading to your own children or grandchildren, whether you're reading to a group at church, or whether you're getting into one of the schools and just volunteering an hour of your time to go in and talk to them, go and enjoy it. Last year, I went to my son's first grade class at the time, and again, you've seen me using our public imaging thing here with the Together We Inspire, and I'll tell you, yeah, the kids were inspired, but this guy was inspired a whole lot more on that one. I read two books to him. I read them, What Do You Do with a Chance and What Do You Do with an Idea, both fantastic books. I'm a sucker for a kid's book that works on an adult level too. And so I read those, and what happened though was that I read them those books. They asked me questions for a couple of minutes, and we'd had a ton of rain that week, and then I answered for about 15 minutes, I answered questions on flooding. And that was just a blast with that one. It reminded me of when I first got out and did a career day back. I was about 26 years old when I first graduated. Got out and went and talked to a kindergarten class. Never been around small children at all. I taught chiropractic for a little while, and then I asked them any questions. The very first question I ever got as a professional was, "What's the tongue made out of?" And so, you know, you have those things. So you'll get out there and they'll inspire you. And so I would ask you to partner with me to get out and to go and read to kids in your community this year as we get closer to February. Other opportunities for service this year, we're going to do Shoes for Orphan Souls again. Pastor Governor Jane Crisp asked me if we could do this. I said, you know what, I like that project. We will. And so what this is a program where we partner with an organization called Buckner that distributes shoes both here in the States and around the world. And what we will do is we will collect new shoes. And so if you have a chance through the course of a year when they go on sale, get yourself a couple pairs. You know, the buy one, get one, or buy one, get one half off, get some shoes. They can be any size. They can be male or female. You get those things. What we'll do is we'll bring them to the district conference and we will distribute them. We'll get those out to kids. And what I have told them is that when we look at that shoe, it's easy to think of the shoe. When we think of our 6 areas of focus, we can think of that as a health project pretty easily. But what I have said is that if you're living in an area where the only way to get to school is to walk 2 miles on a dirt road and you don't have shoes, this shoe becomes a literacy project. If you're living in an area where the only way to get to work is to walk 2 miles on a dirt road with no shoes, this shoe becomes a community development and economic development project. If you're in an area where if you don't have education, if you don't have work, you're more likely to fall in with gangs or terrorist organizations, this shoe becomes a peace and conflict resolution project. You know, there's so many things that this can affect and be part of. And so I would ask you to join me with that. We're going to have our district conference right here in Louisville over at Marriott East where Mike Cool had his a few years ago. They've got a great bourbon bar on the first floor and free parking. So come and join me on that one. We're also going to have a couple opportunities to connect. Susan Zapeta is putting together our friendship exchange. We're going to have a group from India that's going to come here, and we're going to send a group there. They're going to be here around the time of that district conference, so we'll have a chance to do that, to meet and learn about new cultures. And then also we have our RILA coming up. I know Gail has talked to you all, and so I know you all have supported our Rotary Youth Leadership Awards in the past, and so certainly are looking for for student and then also adult participants. If you are free the weekend of September 28 and 29, it's something I'm going to be at. I'm looking forward to it. Come hang out with me, and again, we'll be inspired even more than the kids probably. But as I say, our district conference coming up is going to be May 17th, 18th. Like I say, just around the corner for you guys at the Marriott East, so that'll be good. And then we also have our international conference going to be in Hamburg, Germany this year. A little further away than Toronto, but I've had quite a few Rotarians tell me that when they served in the military over in Europe, that they kind of see this as a little bit of a homecoming. They want to come back and see it and tour it. And so that's part of those things. So I certainly invite you to that. You know, as I talk about change, I talk about everything else, you know, one change that we're going through in the district also is that, you know, unfortunately our district governor nominee was not able to finish his term, so we are looking for a new district governor nominee. We'll also be looking for a district governor nominee designate to get the alphabet soup in there come later this year. But as Mike said, to be a district governor and to do this, what I'm doing today is it's a labor of love in some ways, but it's been a blast for me. I've loved it, and certainly for any of you that have served as president of this club, you all have that strong tradition of service and would invite you to apply as well as part of it. The last thing I'll leave you with, my great uncle Denver Woodring, here's the funny thing, you talk about those connections. I used this line at the end of my Danville meeting on Friday, and a gentleman came up to me afterwards and said, I know your Uncle Denver. I knew your Uncle Denver Woodring. And they knew each other through genealogy research and things. But what Uncle Denver used to say, he was a U.S. Air Force veteran, and he served all around the world. And he came back to his small hometown of Cecilia, and he started Cecilia Days because he wanted an opportunity for people to connect, to transform, and to be part of it, and to inspire. And so he was kind of ahead of his time in some ways. What Uncle Denver used to say, though, was that he said, you know, in the entire world, there's no country like the United States. And in the United States, there's no place like Kentucky. And in Rotary, we have the opportunity with these two districts. And we've got this great district right here in the western half of Kentucky in 6710. And then out of all of 6710, there's no better place for you to be a Rotarian than right here in Louisville. And all the service that you're doing and the things that you have done to change this community, to change lives in Jefferson County. And so my biggest takeaway that I want you to get from me is that I say to you with sincere gratitude, thank you. Thank you for all you've done. I guess if there's any questions, I can throw that. Any questions about what's going on in the district or around Rotary or anything else on those? Well, I must have done a great job then. Thank you all. So.
Let's see the jacket again.
Oh, see the jacket? Here we are. That's what Stuart said. I was the best Rotary flasher we've ever had. So.
See, I got it. Joseph A. Bank. Sorry, Larry. Well, that's another Rotary meeting. Craig's going to be in the back, talk about what is Rotary. And the most important thing of the day, don't forget your umbrella. We're adjourned.